There's a story in an ancient text that makes Hollywood's wildest fantasies look tame. Angels falling from heaven, forbidden love between immortal beings and humans, giants terrorizing the earth, secret knowledge that corrupted an entire civilization, and a catastrophic flood sent to wipe it all away. This isn't fiction. This is what the Book of Enoch claims actually happened before Noah's flood. The Bible gives us just 2 cryptic verses about sons of God and Nephilim. Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. That's it. But the Book of Enoch? It goes into shocking detail about what really happened when angels made a decision that would doom the ancient world. Today, we're diving into one of the most disturbing and fascinating stories in ancient religious literature. The fall of the Watchers, the birth of the giants, and the secrets that were never meant to be known. Before we get into the story, we need to understand what the Book of Enoch actually is. It's an ancient Jewish text written somewhere between the 3rd century BC and the 1st century AD. It's attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, who, according to Genesis, walked with God and was taken up to heaven without dying. While the Book of Enoch didn't make it into most versions of the Bible, it was hugely influential in the ancient world. The New Testament book of Jude, verses 14 and 15, directly quotes it. Early church fathers like Tertullian and Origen took it seriously, and for Ethiopian Christians, it's still part of their biblical canon today. The story we're about to explore comes from chapters 6 through 16 of 1 Enoch, a section scholars call the Book of the Watchers. This is where things get dark. According to 1 Enoch chapter 6, the Watchers were a special class of angels. Their job? To watch over humanity, to observe, perhaps to guide, but never to cross the line between heaven and earth. The text tells us there were 200 of them. They had names, they had ranks, they had specific responsibilities in the heavenly hierarchy, and then something went terribly, catastrophically wrong. Chapter 6 describes the moment everything changed. The Watchers were on earth, carrying out their duties, observing humanity, and then they noticed something. The daughters of men were beautiful. The text says, "And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children." Think about how radical this is. These weren't humans tempted by earthly pleasures. These were heavenly beings, immortal, powerful, dwelling in the presence of God, and they were consumed by desire for mortal women. But here's where it gets even darker. They knew this was wrong. The text makes that crystal clear. Their leader was an angel named Senyk, and according to chapter 6, he hesitated. He said to the others, "I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin." So what did they do? They made a pact, an oath binding them all together. Chapter 6, verse 6. Then swore they all together and bound themselves by mutual curses upon it. And where did this happen? On Mount Hermon, a real mountain on the border of modern Lebanon and Syria. The name Hermon, by the way, may come from the Hebrew word herem, meaning curse or devoted to destruction. Even the location marks the gravity of what they did. The Book of Enoch, chapter 6, actually preserves the names of the leaders. It lists 18 chiefs, each commanding others. Names like Senyk, Azazel, Arachiel, Ramiel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barachiel, Asael, Armaros, and others. 200 angels total, and they all took human wives. This wasn't just lust. This was rebellion, a deliberate crossing of a boundary that was never meant to be crossed, heaven and earth, immortal and mortal, divine and human. And the consequences? They were about to get unimaginably worse. Chapter 7 describes what happened next. The union of angels and human women produced offspring, but these weren't normal children. And they became pregnant and they bare great giants. These were the Nephilim, the giants. And the text gives us details about just how monstrous they were. Different ancient manuscripts give different measurements. Some say 300 cubits tall, others say 3,000. Either way, we're talking about beings of unnatural, terrifying size. Whether these numbers are literal or symbolic, the point is clear. These were beings of enormous power and unnatural origin, and they were hungry. Chapter 7, verses 3 through 5. And they consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Read that again. These giants didn't just eat food. They consumed everything. Animals, humans, even each other. The world was descending into cannibalistic horror. But the corruption didn't stop there. The fallen angels, the Watchers, began teaching humanity things we were never supposed to know. Chapter 8 gives us the specific breakdown. Azazel, remember that name, it's important, taught men to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. The arts of war. He showed them how to work with metals, how to forge weapons of mass destruction. But Azazel also taught something else. Cosmetics, beautifying the eyelids, the use of ornaments and precious stones, coloring tinctures. Why is that significant? Because it was about vanity, enhancing physical appearance to an unnatural degree, the very thing that had tempted the Watchers in the first place. Senyk taught enchantments and root cuttings, sorcery and dark magic. Armaros taught the dispelling spells. Barakiel taught astrology, the signs of the stars. Not innocent stargazing, but divination, trying to predict and control the future. Kokabeel taught the constellations and their meanings. Ezekiel taught knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel taught the signs of the earth. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun. Sariel taught the course of the moon. Now, on the surface, some of this sounds innocent. Astronomy, metallurgy. What's wrong with knowledge? But here's the thing. In the context of the Book of Enoch, this was sacred knowledge. Secrets of how creation itself functioned. Things that belonged to the realm of angels, not humans. Knowledge that humanity wasn't spiritually mature enough to handle. And what did humanity do with it? Chapter 8, verse 2. And there was much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. The knowledge of metals became weapons for war. The knowledge of beautification became vanity and seduction. The knowledge of the heavens became attempts to manipulate fate through divination and magic. Verse 4 says it plainly. Men were being destroyed, and they cried out, and their cry went up to heaven. The world was broken. Giants were devouring humans. Humans were waging war with angel-taught weapons. The natural order had collapsed. Violence and corruption covered the earth. And then the crying reached heaven. Chapters 9 and 10 describe what happened next. 4 great archangels heard humanity's cry. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel. They looked down from the holy places of heaven and saw what had happened. Chapter 9, verse 1. They saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they brought the case directly to God. Listen to their words in chapter 9, verses 6 through 10. You see what Azazel has done, who has taught all unrighteousness on earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Senyk, to whom you have given authority to bear rule over his associates. They have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Notice how they specifically call out Azazel and Senyk. 2 names above all others, their guilt is emphasized. God's response, swift, decisive, devastating. First, chapter 10, verse 1. God sent Arshalal, likely another name for Uriel, to Noah with a warning. "Go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a flood is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it." This is where the Book of Enoch connects directly to the biblical flood narrative in Genesis. The corruption caused by the watchers is the reason for the flood. But before the flood, there was judgment for the angels themselves. Chapter 10, verses 4 through 8. God commanded Raphael, "Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire." Think about that punishment. Azazel, who taught humanity the arts of war and vanity, was bound in total darkness, buried under jagged rocks, unable to see light, waiting for the final judgment in fire. Then God turned to the giants. Chapter 10, verse 9, to Gabriel, "Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of the watchers from amongst men. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle." The giants, the Nephilim, would be destroyed, not just by the flood, but first by turning them against each other. Imagine the horror, these massive, violent beings driven to slaughter one another. And then, chapter 10, verses 11 through 14, God gave Michael the command regarding the watchers themselves. "Go, bind Senyk and his associates, who have united themselves with women so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison, in which they shall be confined forever. 70 generations, imprisoned in the valleys of the earth, bound in darkness, awaiting final judgment in a lake of fire." This connects directly to what we see in later texts. The New Testament, 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 4. "God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment." Jude, verse 6. "And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day." The Book of Enoch's story of the Watchers became foundational to how early Christians understood fallen angels and the origin of evil. But there's one more part to this story that's often overlooked. The Watchers knew they were doomed, and they tried to get help. Chapters 13 and 14 describe what happened when Enoch himself was brought to intercede for them. They saw Enoch and begged him. Chapter 13, verse 4. "Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven. You have wrought great destruction on the earth, and you shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin." But they didn't give up. Verse 6. "Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven." So Enoch wrote their petition. He prayed for them. And in chapter 14, he fell asleep and had a vision. He was brought before God's throne to deliver their plea. But the answer was clear and final. Chapter 14, verse 4 through 6. "The vision appeared to me thus. Behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me. And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision I saw a second house, greater than the former. Its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings and the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. Enoch saw the throne of God. And God's message to the watchers was this." Chapter 16, verses 2 through 4. Go, tell the watchers of heaven, who have sent you to intercede for them. You should intercede for men, not men for you. Why have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? You were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life. But you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women. Therefore you shall have no peace. No peace, no forgiveness, no reprieve. The judgment was final. And then the flood came, and the world was cleansed. So, what do we make of this extraordinary story? The Book of Enoch gives us a narrative that goes far beyond the brief mentions in Genesis 6. It provides a cosmic backstory to the flood, a tale of divine rebellion, forbidden knowledge, monstrous offspring, and devastating judgment. Whether you take it as literal history, symbolic mythology, or ancient theological reflection, several themes stand out powerfully. First, boundaries exist for a reason. The watchers were meant to observe, not to interact. Heaven and earth were meant to remain distinct. When that sacred boundary was violated, chaos and corruption followed. Some lines are not meant to be crossed. Second, knowledge without wisdom is destructive. The secrets the watchers taught, metallurgy, cosmetics, astrology, warfare, weren't inherently evil, but given to unprepared humanity, without moral maturity or divine guidance, they became tools of violence, vanity, and rebellion. Third, corruption spreads exponentially. It started with 200 angels breaking one rule. It spread to their giant offspring. It consumed all of humanity. Soon the entire earth was filled with violence and blood. Evil doesn't stay contained. It multiplies. Fourth, judgment is real and inevitable. The watchers chose rebellion. They faced irrevocable consequences. Azazel bound in darkness. Semyaza imprisoned for 70 generations. The giants destroyed. The earth flooded. Actions have consequences that can't be undone. And fifth, even in the darkest judgment, there is hope for those who remain faithful. Noah and his family. A remnant preserved. A new beginning after the flood. Restoration is possible, but only for those who walk with God. The Book of Enoch was incredibly influential in shaping early Jewish and Christian views of angels, demons, the origins of evil, and the apocalypse. You can see its fingerprints throughout the New Testament. Jude quotes it directly. Peter references imprisoned angels. Revelation's cosmic warfare echoes its themes. Jesus himself mentions angels who sinned. For centuries, this text shaped how people understood the problem of evil. Why is there suffering? Why is there violence? Why does the world seem fundamentally broken? The Book of Enoch's answer: because boundaries were crossed that should never have been crossed. Because sacred knowledge was profaned. Because beings with free will chose their own desires over divine order. And because that choice had consequences that rippled through all of creation. It reminds us that we live in a moral universe, that our choices matter, that rebellion against the created order, whether by angels or humans, brings destruction. But it also reminds us that judgment, however severe, serves a purpose: to cleanse, to restore, to make way for something new. The watchers fell. The giants walked the earth. Humanity was corrupted. And the flood came. But after the flood, there was Noah. There was a rainbow. There was a covenant. There was hope. The story of the watchers is a story of how far we can fall, and how complete redemption must be to restore what was broken. It's a story about the cost of crossing lines we were never meant to cross. And it's a warning that echoes through the ages. Some choices have eternal consequences. If this gave you a new perspective on the flood narrative, the origins of evil, or the mysterious world of ancient angels and giants, consider this. The Book of Enoch was preserved for over 2,000 years, copied by hand, hidden in caves, carried across continents, because people believed this story mattered. Whether you see it as scripture or as ancient literature, It carries a message that has resonated across millennia, a message about boundaries, about wisdom, about the consequences of rebellion, and about the hope of redemption. The Watchers made their choice on Mount Hermon, the giants walked the earth, and the world was flooded. But the story didn't end there. It echoes still, in our questions about power and responsibility, in our struggles with forbidden knowledge and its consequences, in our hope that even after judgment, restoration is possible. The choice, as always, is ours.